that no longer will we have women showing up at the airports only to be sent away because their job's been given to someone else. Because now the employer has to pay the airfare, which is a guarantee that the job will be here when the caregiver arrives. And we hope that no longer will there be women who are forced to work 60, 80 hours a week, 7 days a week, because we are stipulating exactly what has to be in the contract. We are going to work with the provinces to ensure that the contracts are enforced, that the caregivers' rights are respected, and if employers violate those contracts, they will no longer have access to caregivers in the future. And most importantly, if a caregiver comes to Canada and generously gives of themselves for an employer and they pass the first medical, but then through no fault of their own they become sick, we are no longer going to penalize those women facing such a tragic personal health challenge. We are going to say to them, you have been welcomed to Canada, you will qualify for permanent residency, and your families can come here. We are adopting the one to come along. Also making it more flexible to get the number of hours required to become a permanent resident, so that women who have to change employers are no longer penalized for doing so, and that essentially they can become permanent residents much more quickly than was the case under the old program. And we are saying that women who no longer have to pay any of the employer paid benefits like healthcare, insurance, workplace safety insurance, recruitment fees, job duties, etc. All of these things have now been changed in the new regulations, and I am pleased to announce to you that these new regulations that have been pre-published will be put into place, and this will be the law of the land in the first week of April 2010. Your Excellency, Ambassador, Philippines is a generous country. It shares its best and brightest with the rest of the world. And the best of its best are the young women who go out around the world to take care of other people's families. And in too many cases we hear tragic stories around the world about how some of those women are treated. I hope and believe that Canada will be an example to the rest of the world about how caregivers should be treated with dignity, with respect, and with protection for their basic rights. And I certainly hope to share our best practice, our new policy with other countries who depend upon caregivers to take care of families. I hope that these changes will not only benefit caregivers coming to Canada, but those all around the world who we call to mind, particularly those women who are in difficult or abusive situations. And we pray for God's protection for those women all around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience in waiting for us to bring in these changes. Thank you for your very meaningful expression of gratitude here today. And thank you for the work, particularly that the caregivers do. And let us go forward in this important work, always keeping in mind the dignified and brave example of Juana Tejada and so many thousands of others. Thank you very much.
Okay, in relation.
Thank you very much. I thought that I had given my piece earlier, but indeed I take advantage of this opportunity to say a few words in the presence of your hero and your champion, our hero and our champion. And he's not alone here, he's accompanied by no less than another member of the Canadian Parliament. But mainly to Minister Jason Kenney, the entire Philippine population of almost 500,000 in Canada have been watching and praying. And I think that while they have already thanked you in their hearts, even when they were only reading what had happened and the course of action that you had taken in order to lift the lot of the caregiver, they are right now pinching themselves and telling themselves, indeed, everything that we have read is true. And it is not only true what we have read, it has also been embellished with the sincerity and the message that has been given to you this morning. As I said earlier, and now I wish to say it again, I told you that there is a different kind of immigration policy in Canada as opposed to or as compared to the United States or Australia or New Zealand or some other countries. And it may be worth repeating to state that it is not a melting pot policy. It is a mosaic policy. The melting pot policy creates a mishmash of Filipinos, Koreans, Japanese, Europeans, Africans, and you have a new American, or you have a new Australian. In Canada, still there is a mix of the Filipino, the Korean, the Japanese, the European, the African, but they do not create a new Canadian. Canada and its immigration policy allows you to promote and propagate your culture. It is as if it was a kaleidoscope of differences, and you can clearly see who is the Filipino, who is the American, who is the European, who is the African. And therefore, they encourage you to maintain and promote your own culture. Where else can you find a country as generous and as kind as Canada? And I was talking to you about this small corner of Toronto, a very, very small corner of big, big metropolitan Toronto, and yet a federal minister of the Canadian government takes the time to come and see you and talk to you, speak to you heart to heart, and therefore our reply and my reply really is this: don't forget those who have not forgotten you and keep you in their minds even as they tackle the big responsibilities of government. So to Minister Jason Kenney, to the Member of Parliament, Mr. Jim Abbott, and to all of those who have inspired and conspired to come up with these new rules and regulations, our eternal gratitude, and we in turn should say, we will behave, we will be good because Canada has been good to us. I think that is the message for today. And to the organizers of this meeting and the organizers of this afternoon's affair, a very, very big congratulations to you and to Minister Kenny and the government he represents. All the best in all the undertakings, be they social, be they economic, be they political. Thank you very much, and good afternoon to you all.
Kenny has put together some certificates for excellence and achievement in the field of caregivers, and he'd like to present these to representatives who will come up and take a photograph. And the first
is the Association of Caregivers Thornhill.
Please come on up and take a photograph. We have the Field Corps Support Group of Durham Region.
Okay.
Did someone get some cars? Thanks for coming all the way. You came on a bus.